Okay. Hey guys, welcome friends and family. We're on chapter 11 in Extreme Ownership. What a phenomenal book. I cannot thank my friend Lucas McCoy enough for introducing me to this read. I've always liked Jacko, but actually never took time to read his book, Extreme Ownership. And I've listened to it and I've read it. I'm just going to say I think the read's better. Chapter 11 is what we're going to be talking about today. And again, you're looking at a Navy SEAL in Jacko and Leif who have went into combat, fought in Ramadi, and man, it just builds a different type of person to actually go to that level of being a Navy SEAL and then actually putting boots on the ground. Wow. Chapter 11 is Decisiveness Amid Uncertainty. And Leif shares in this chapter about a time he was with the legend. How many of you all have watched The American Sniper? Have you seen that movie? What an amazing movie. If you look back past some of that bad language, that movie has a lot of good character leadership building stuff in it. And of course, if you've watched a movie, the guy in American Sniper, they called him a legend. He'd actually had more kills through the sniper than anybody else that's ever been a sniper in the Army that we're aware of. And so here he is. Just take you to the scene they're in. They're in Ramadi. They're in a war almost daily. They're taking it to the Al-Qaeda daily. And here they are. Here's the legend and here's Leif. And they're setting up on a building. And the sniper, the legend, the American Sniper, he's seen in his scope somebody at, like, say, building 215 start to move, and he's got a gun, he's got a scope gun. Do you want me to take him out? And Leif says, well, can you positively identify him? And the legend says, no, I can't. So we don't know if he's friendly or we don't know if he's an enemy. Correct. So he calls down to the warrior unit, the chief of the warrior unit, which had 100 people in the Army and the Marines that he's overseeing, and they're going about clearing the buildings. And he said, hey, 215, we see movement in that building. Have you all cleared it? Yeah, we've cleared it. It has to be an enemy. Take the shot. Well, Leif looks down. He talks to the legend. He said, legend, are you sure? Can you identify? Is this an enemy? I'm sure he's got a gun, but I'm definitely not sure if he's friendly or enemy. What would you like me to do? He calls back down to the warrior unit. He says, we can't positively identify. I would like to recommend that your men go re-clear that building. And the guy says, look, we done cleared the building. We know that could not be friendly in that building. We know that it has to be the enemy in 215, in building 215. So it says, take the shot. Leif replies back, negative, uncertain, can't fully identify. I recommend you retake that building, clear it. So there's a pause. He said, like, this guy was over 100 different Army Marine guys and had a big job. And he's probably sitting there thinking, man, what's this SEAL thinking? I'm telling him, it can't be friendly in there. It has to be the enemy. Take the shot before I send my men to go clear that building again and put them out in the open where they could get killed, to go fight off maybe a bad guy when they could just shoot him right now. Long pause. But he finally says, okay, yes, sir, we'll clear the building. And I like that he recommended it. This is a leader of the SEALs. This is a leader of the Army. And they're working together for the same mission. And they respected each other enough. Even if they thought the one was wrong, he was willing to go ahead and clear the building. So Leif and the legend are sitting there talking. And in that process, he realizes that they've actually got the wrong buildings. So it happens all the time with the buildings. They're stacked high and low, and their scope was out there. It was scoped on the wrong building. It was actually like 315, not 215. There were buildings down. And so Leif calls down to the warriors, like, hold off your men. 315's the building that we're looking at. Do we have friendlies in 315? Yes, sir. We got friendlies in 315. So what the legend was seeing was his own people in that building, the good guys. And if he had took that shot, he'd have killed one of his guys. And Leif was in a point of position where he didn't know what to do. He knew that if he took the shot, he very well could have saved American lives, that maybe if it was a bad guy, he would have killed somebody. But he also knew that if it happened to be friendly, he didn't know if he could live any longer or even be a Navy SEAL, because he would have killed one of his own people. So what a tough, decisive position that Leif had to be. And he had to be decisive. And yet he had to be decisive amongst pressure. And guys, that's something we all got to work on, is being more decisive. I can think of times in my life when I had to make some pretty tough decisions. I think of some recently where we had to step up and make some tougher decisions. And one thing I can tell you is, usually by waiting, it doesn't get better. My situation was, I was working with a good friend and a great builder, and in the process, I was bringing him out about 45 minutes to Van Buren County, where we had purchased a subdivision. We're building some homes out there, and my good builder, good friend, was doing me a favor going that far out. And I did not want to hurt his feelings, but also these were taking longer than our regular builds were taking. They were taking nearly 8-9 months. And so I know he had probably 50 homes that he's building here in Putnam County and some in Sparta, but going out that far, it was just taking a toll on him to get his men that far out. But he would do it. He was a good friend. And also, I didn't want to hurt his feelings. So I said, we sat down and we talked. We're like, man, I know I'm not doing you a favor taking you out that far. Would you be okay with me partnering with a builder in that area so that we can get that done? I wanted to be very respectful because he's a good builder and a good friend. And he was polite. He said, man, I'll take care of you. But if you prefer to work with a builder in that area and you think that would be better, I'm okay with that. I said, I think it'd be better for you and me both. And I really appreciate that fact that you're so willing to help out. But so I interviewed 2 or 3 builders, found the best fit, a young man that we felt was humble, hungry, and smart. And he agreed to take on building 2 homes out there. And here's the cool thing. We got those 2 homes built in 6 months, completely done, and for less. And then really probably the main thing is that we've built a relationship with a new young builder that we feel very comfortable entrusting with more opportunities. So being decisive, making a decision, even when it's hard, to stay with what you're comfortable with, that's working and it's proved to work, but it might be taking a little too long. And to make that decision was tough. And also, we didn't do damage to this relationship. We're still working with a phenomenal builder in Cookeville. He's still doing a great job building several homes with us. But we needed to make an adjustment, and we had to do that decisively. So how about you? What's an area in your life right now, today, that you're saying, I need to go ahead, if I was a little bit more assertive, if I was a little bit more aggressive in making a decision, I need to make a decision. See, what happens is so often we get caught in that kind of wondering place where we don't make a decision. Zig Ziglar said, we need to be a purposeful, meaningful person, not a wandering generality. And that's what happens to a lot of us. Guys, when you look at Moses in the wilderness, what did they do? They wandered around for 40 years when really it was a direct shot. They could have been there in less than 10 days. But it took them that many years because they were wondering. The sooner you get decisive, the sooner you make a decision, generally the better you are. The longer you wait, the higher the price goes. And sometimes, like for us, like in real estate, you go back 18 months ago, if you had to take time to think about it, you lost it. If you wanted a home, you had to step up and you had to be decisive, and you were going to get that opportunity. But if you waited, it took long. And here's the thing, every year, the prices kept going up. So either you pay the price now or you pay it later. Either you make the decision now or you make it later. But the longer you wait, usually the higher the price tag. Hope this helps. Hope this helps you get decisive. Hope you really kind of think through that and say, what's an area in my life right now that I could win in by being more decisive? Sometimes it's doing the hard thing. Sometimes it's doing something you don't want to do, If you're thinking about starting on a diet, thinking about going to the gym. Yeah, all that sounds hard. But the sooner you commit and take that first step, maybe it isn't, I'm going to go on a diet. Maybe it's, I'm going to quit eating sweets after a certain time. Or I'm going to track my calories every day. It's something I do. I track my calories. I've got a thing on my phone and I'm able to keep up with it. So maybe it's just starting with little steps. And from there, they get bigger and bigger. And before long, you're losing weight in a gym and you didn't even know it. It started with those first right steps. So make a decision today, make a good decision today, and get further ahead. Thank you. Hope you have a great week.